It's been a year since I've been in Seward. It's different, and everything changed with the time and back of good things, but yeah, it's been a little bit tough.
Heard of some of the conditions that people are, forced to be a part of, young children who are in the foster care system. Are you in there by yourself? Are you with your siblings? Is anybody you know around you?
No, I'm a hotel by myself with, of course, two workers,
Mm-hmm.
then another room, but I'm usually in my room. But
Yeah.
it's a hotel location, yeah.
Is it kind of scary and kind of isolating that you're just in this hotel room by yourself? You don't really know.
It is, because we don't even go out. And when we try to go out, they try to make a big deal, but they expect us to be in a room 24/7 without doing anything. I mean, I don't think it's healthy for for nobody. It's been a year since I've been in Seward. It's different, and everything changed with the time and back of good things, but yeah, it's been a little bit tough.
It's been a little bit tough. Do they seem overwhelmed sometimes when dealing with these issues, the social workers? Do you think that the state could support them more as they support you? Where do you think the lack is? Where do you think us as adults and lawmakers, where are we missing the mark?
I think they're missing a I think they have to see like the reality of how people is living and the kids and what in the hotel, even in the houses. But they don't see really what's going on with the kids. I don't think they really even ask you how you feel in these conditions. They don't ask. They need to more communicate with the kids. They need to do more like something that comes better to for a lot of the kids.
The foster care system is intended to be good for children, but so oftentimes we hear horror stories about things that are happening to children in these situations. What is your hope for that younger person that's coming up in the foster care system by you speaking out against this?
Well, I hope one thing they can change is how the kids are living. Like, have them in a better place where they have more like a routine, you know,
Yeah.
like a more like a licensing place and everything like that. Because this is basically a licensing home. We're basically homeless, but in a shelter or like a hotel because we're not in a placement. But if they're gonna have the kids like this type of placements, I think they have to get like some appropriate place with the appropriate personnel or staff and make it more like a licensing place, because we are still, under the state of Texas. But then just because we see what's in me that, we cannot be licensed or be treated like other kids.
Have you ever been like without food or without what you would think is proper care for a child?
I don't think, um, I don't think we've been, sometimes we don't really get food. Like we used to have no food this week. And we asked them and there's something take a week and a half to bring groceries. So you have to figure out how to really eat it yourself or something sometimes. Even though we ask for it on time, they still need to go to a process to bring groceries. So it's just like taking long.
Yeah. I'm really sorry that you're dealing with that. If you could speak directly to the community and people, the average person at home watching this that doesn't really think about this on an everyday basis, that mom that's at home with her kids or the kids that have a safe place to stay, what would you tell members of the community about your situation and what you're going through and how we can help?
Many people realize, oh, the NCBS, you have all the benefits, you have a great life. Sometimes it's not true. Sometimes people who have like a family, a kid, are living better than we do because even though we have benefits, we also have bad things going on in the system. So, me speaking about, yes, we do give benefits, but we don't live the same life, but the kids and regular family are living. We pass through a lot of things to be here. We going through so many things to be here. So, I mean, I just, I feel like if people will literally look into more into the kids and everything or pay attention more to what's going on, they will realize that some things are wrong and some things are good.
Our children are living in unlicensed, unregulated placements that the state of Texas is paying $250 million. And for me to get calls from children across our entire state, Texas has 254 counties. I'm getting calls from children across Texas telling me that they home, telling me that there's no food in the refrigerator, telling me that they're sleeping on the floors, telling me that there's no supervision, how the human traffickers are coming to the hotels that they're staying in, or the houses that they were in. No longer now they in those houses since they found out that the kids that gave me everything. Children being raped in CY, the high traffic human trafficking area, and high traffic sexual offenders that's in that area. It was a child in Waco, 13 years old, that was raped in February by a registered sex offender. So my issue is, when you remove these children, you're supposed to remove them to protect them. You're supposed to remove them to have regulations, just like you do with the foster homes. Okay, there's no way in hell that those children supposed to be subject to that. That is inhumane conditions. Those children are living worse than those apartments that I go expose.
We've heard that there's been refrigerators without food. I mean, the filthy hotels. I couldn't imagine personally staying in something like that. So how can they do this? Why is this permissible from legislation, from lawmakers? How is this just running under our nose, it seems like?
Because of this federal lawsuit that's happening under Judge Janice Jack. Okay, Judge Janice Jack has been on them with this lawsuit that's been over 10 years. And Judge Janice Jack is addressing that the system is broken, and it needs to be fixed. And she's been holding them in contempt with every area, right? I mean, she even went as far as threatening both of the commissioners, telling them, have you ever seen the inside of a jail? Because I'm going to hold you in contempt, because she feels that both agencies are failing the kids. So what is happening that I find quite interesting is that I think both departments had did a knee-jerk reaction, because you don't want to place these kids with minority providers because you want to overregulate. Okay. And by overregulating these minority providers, then you don't have a place to put these kids. And then you have providers that don't want to jeopardize their business because of the kickbacks that happens, to where their business can be in trouble because this child could be a liability. You know what I mean? First of all, we don't supposed to be looking at kids as being a liability. We're supposed to be looking at children to where these kids are not actually being in that system. We're supposed to help them. We're supposed to protect them. And that's not what's happening.
Within the foster care system, do you think that the issue is a matter of money from lawmakers from Texas, or is it just a matter of training for people in the foster system? We're losing these children. Should we be advocating for more training for the leaders, or is it a money issue, you think?
In my opinion, I think that it's all the above, because when you have leaders that's supposed to be protecting children, and children are living like that, that's unacceptable. Now, just like when you have a foster adoption agency, you're supposed to make sure that those kids are protected when you have them in licensed foster homes. Okay. So if a licensed foster home can ensure that a child has food, ensure that all the needs are being met, ensure that supervision is not an issue, then state of Texas, they're supposed to be regulating the foster adoption homes, right? So what they're doing is do as I say, not as I do type mentality, and that's not going to work. So what we need funding to where we can license more licensed foster homes to be able to put these kids in and to give these kids the love and support that's needed. Not having these children just sleeping on mattresses on the floor, not having any food. Like, I literally had children call me last night. Now, my own children have eaten by around 7 o'clock. This child telling me that they still have not fed me and they know that I don't have any food. I had to send Grubhub over there to send him some Wingstop. And this child is not even in Houston. This child was in another city in Texas at a hotel. the legislators, and we got the Texas Legislative Black Caucus have joined forces. I've also brought this attention to the Texas Democratic Party. So this is something that we're not going to take lightly. I can't really speak on the case, but what I can say, this 17-year-old is from our area. He's from the Katy, Houston area. And he is in another city in the state of Texas, living in a hotel with filth, no food, no supervision. Unacceptable.
What's one thing that the community, because just hearing this, I mean, obviously, we don't want any child to be left without food. That just doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem like the system that should be in place, especially in the state that I live in. I don't want to be thinking that like I'm at a hotel and on the next floor there could be a kid starving. What can the community do? Is there something the community can be on the lookout for? Should we be trying to contact lawmakers and legislation on behalf of the kids? What can we do, the average person sitting at home, to help this situation?
The average person sitting at home, the one thing that you could do, we already have something in place as far as with donating. So we can get these homes in place for these children. That's one. Two, contact your legislator. Contact the congressional or statewide legislators in your area so they can get on top of it. But the website that they would need to go to be able to donate with the initiative that we already got in place is www.children-of-diversity.org, and that funding will go to foster home development so we can develop licensed, regulated foster homes so we can put these babies in so they can be safe.
What's coming next? What can we look for in the coming days as we take the next steps towards a solution?
Well, the first thing is that we gotta agitate. We gotta shake the trees first so we can bring the awareness. This is why you all are very much so important to help amplify this issue. So that will help with the next steps, which is, one, we are going to request a federal investigation on both agencies because, one, they are receiving Title IV funding and they are clearly out of compliance. That video showed you that. So this is why we need you all's help to help us amplify this issue so we can help these children.
The last words that I have is this. Both of these state agencies, you're not going to be able to point your fingers at each other. You guys have dropped the ball. You guys have committed crimes against children, which is neglect, which is inhumane conditions, and children are being raped on your watch. And that is unacceptable. And for these babies to look for me, they were looking for me. I wasn't looking for them. They was looking for me because they were looking for somebody who's going to fight, who's going to advocate. And that's what I do.